called LomoSnaps.
Hi, my name is Mohammed. This is Chris, Shaq, and Phil. And as you mentioned, we are the horizontal devs. Our app is called LomoSnaps, and it's basically a cross-platform mobile app which simplifies the process of sharing photos for events. The reasoning behind the app is we have all been in situations where after group holidays or weddings, we've had to chase each other for the photos. And our app has a solution for this, as once the event is over, all the users' photos are collected in a central gallery for the members to view. So we really pushed ourselves for this project. After researching the top cross-platform technologies to build our app, we were torn between everyone's favorite React Native or Flutter, which has been made by Google. And after deliberating, we actually decided to do both. So we made two versions of our app, one with React Native and one with Flutter. Due to time constraints, unfortunately, the Flutter version of the app isn't as polished as the React Native app, but Chris will now do a side-by-side demo of both.
Hi, so yeah, I'm just going to talk through the app now. This is our, if we can get it a bit bigger. Yeah, there we go. So we've got our login screen. This is our sign-up screen. So on the right, we've got React Native. On the left is Flutter. So we can sign in with Facebook or with Google or email. So as you can see, it's a little bit more polished, the React Native. So on the left, yeah, we've got our list of events which we've either created or we've been added to by other users. And we've got the development date and the end date, which you'll be able to see fully on the React Native version. There you go, yeah. So we can scroll through these. We can create a new event. So we'll do that with React Native now. Event name, you can pick the amount of photos that you want users to take just so it doesn't get out of control. Then we've got the event end date, at which point you won't be able to take any more photos. And then there's the development date, which can be a little bit while later. So you get all your photos back in one go and you get to kind of relive the memories. So once you've created an event, it should show up in your list. Yep, there we go. So you get your camera. You've got all the people who are attending the event. You can add people to it. We've had to implement some censorship here, very last minute, for GDPR reasons. So this basically goes through your contacts, and you can add people based on their phone number. So I've just added Shaq. And then as you can see on Shaq's phone, he's now got the wedding in his events. So you go on that. We can do all the same things. Take a picture. You can see that the number of pictures goes down as the database is updated. And then in our album, you should be able to see that you can't actually access the photos yet. And you don't get any kind of idea of what the photo looks like before, just after it's taken. So we go on to another event which is finished already. We can see, if you look on the React Native, you can see that you can no longer take photos for that event. And then all the photos from the database from every person who's taken those photos is then accessible in the album. And you can download them here. Yeah, that's more or less it. So I'll pass you on to Shaq. He'll talk through the tech stack.
Went back a bit too far there, sorry. So I'll say for our tech stack, the main driver behind our choices was just trying to get an experience of things that we haven't really covered in the course. So with our backend, we decided to go serverless, mainly to take advantage of experience using NoSQL, as well as the Google Firebase authentication, which really does come in handy, and the cloud storage to hold all our images. So we thought serverless was a great way to go with the backend. For our front end, we have two versions. We have React Native, Expo, and then JavaScript, and then compared with Flutter and Dart. So Flutter is a fairly new SDK developed by Google, written in Dart, which is an object-orientated, statically programmed language. So it is a fair change from what we've experienced here with JavaScript. But my own personal opinion, I absolutely loved it. I think it is very intuitive. It's very, very declarative. If you want something in a row, wrap it in a row widget. If you want it in a column, wrap it in a column widget. It's genuinely that simple. If you want it in the center, put it in a center widget. So for me, I think the learning experience with Flutter, it does take a while for you to get used to their vast sum of different widgets, which you can do. A lot of the stuff you can repeat, but in a slightly different way, using different properties. But I think it definitely is really useful, especially considering they also have testing integrated in the SDK itself. So that really did help us on with making sure that what we're displaying is what we intended. But as for that, I think we also came across the typical thing that all the groups have done before, and that was the mistake in thinking React Native would be something simple for us to pick up. So our initial plan was to write the app, prototype it in React Native, and then try and redevelop that using Flutter and Dart. Not as easy as it sounds. They're all both fairly tricky to configure, but I say it's a great fun. So now I'm going to pass you on to Phil to talk about our teamwork and challenges.
Hi everybody. My first challenge is which slide am I on? Okay. Our challenge is deciding on our initial idea and coming down to something that was both feasible and was going to stretch us in terms of which technologies we were going to try and take on. The tooling, I think Shaq's already mentioned that. Starting out from scratch using brand new language, new SDK, and also you've got to tool up with Xcode and Android Studio. And I spent a very long evening just literally starting from scratch at home, basically getting a Flutter app provisioned onto my Apple mobile. So that was quite a challenge. Another challenge we had, we were using NoSQL on the back end, and it is completely different. You just can't do select whatever from whatever table where. It's just a very different world. But at the same time, NoSQL is very flexible, so we just had this event object that we just kept extending and extending and extending as we were building the user interface and completing each user story. Navigation in React Native was quite a challenge. We did some when we were doing React. Reach Router, we did some when we were doing React. Again, quite different. And the last thing is you're in a cross-platform. You're in a cross-platform world. So, for example, on iOS, the date picker components are completely different to date picker components on Android. So you've basically got these like conditionals in your code. Is it iOS? Is it Android? And user experience different, etc., etc. I think that's it on the challenges. I'm reaching the end of our presentation. I'd like to say thank you very much, everybody, for listening, and it's time to hand over for questions.